If I do this, does that ruin everything? Probably not. Hoping it doesn't. See how the sound is on this, because I do not have my glorious microphone today. I snuck out the back to exercise. I forgot all of my equipment, which reminds me, I've got to find my. I've got microscope stuff to deal with. Got microscopes to contend with. That's right. I've got what I think I found a tardigrade. Hello, Rebecca. Yeah, I think I found a tardigrade in the bark of a mossy tree that I picked up while I was walking the dog, and I want to find some slides to put it on. I have some nice concave slides. There they are. I think those are them. That will help me immensely. I also have a very cool little kit, the dipple, that I will use as well. Whoa, almost dropped that baby. That would have been nasty. Okay, so got that. I'm getting all kitted up. This, however, is my Burn&Learn, he says, rather distracted. What do we got? Nexus, hello. The doctor, the other doctor. Jaden, eternal noob, that's what I feel like. Brimstone, I love it. And Roxy Plays, how are you all? Oh, so as I say, I don't have my proper microphone today. How is the sound? Is it passable, the sound today? Trying to read this is interesting. Tardigrade are indeed amongst the rock stars of the microfauna world. They're like the sumo wrestlers of the microfauna, I would have to say. Very exciting little animals, I must say. I don't know why I get such a kick out of them. They're really hard to find. I'm convinced that they actually hide from me. Hi, David, small fan. Hello, Jaden. I think I need a large fan to just cool off. I am so sweaty and gross. I've done my exercise. This actually let everyone know. This is my Burn&Learn. This is my bid to stay alive and fit long enough to enjoy my old age with my brilliant, beautiful wife, Jane, my fabulous son, Sebastian, and the ridiculous, crazy mess of a mutt that is my dog. Oh my God, she's just a nuisance. I love her, I guess, somewhere deep inside when I don't want to kill her. I really do. But especially when it's just me. You know, when Jane has to go away, Jane has gone to England again. She's in London. She's doing a TV conference there. Bless her little cotton socks. But I just have a little too much dog time for me. But actually, what's great about it is I've already talked to the girls downstairs, the ladies of the lower decks, as I call them, the lower levels, who are living with us now while they're at University of Toronto, because the cost of Toronto rent is ridiculous. So we've got them living down there, and it's not as bad as it sounds. It's actually quite cozy. Jane's done a fantastic job of cozying it up. When I was down there, when it was my little fan cave nerd dwelling, it was a little chilly and gross. But Jane has done an amazing job. Got some IKEA stuff and some lights, and we redid the bathroom. They've got like a palatial bathroom. They've got like a freaking royalty bathroom. I can't wait for them to leave so I can go and use that bathroom. It's like a giant shower and big comfy toilet and stuff. Oh, so great. Anyways, they've got that. But they're learning, trying to make their life a little easier while they learn. And so I'm back in the garage like a steaming something that fell out of the back end of a cow. I've done my 30 minutes. I hate exercise. I just hate it. I really do. I just freaking hate it. And the only way I can do it is by learning something or reading something or feeling like I'm doing something productive other than just, walking on the spot on a special expensive machine seems so effing stupid. It seems almost as stupid as wandering around after a dog and picking up its droppings in a bag. Like my whole existence comes into question with these things every so often. I stop and I get this moment of clarity and I go, oh my God, I am making myself all sweaty and gross by standing in one spot on a machine. And then I'm going and walking the dog and with plastic bags, picking up perfectly good organic matter and putting them into another giant plastic bag for a giant gas truck to come pick it up. And it's just ridiculous. What are we doing? This place is a mess. God damn it. Anyways, a couple things. I should talk about the learn part. Let me talk about the learn part first. I don't forget that, because I often forget the learn. With all the endorphins, the little dolphins flying through my brain, I tend to forget the learning part. So madness and memory. This is Stanley Prusiner, guy who discovered the prion. What he's now talking about is this plaque, these plaques that he believes these prions form in the brain. And where up until now, they thought that these plaques were just, oh, just cellular debris, nothing to worry about there. It's just what happens when you get old. Well, no, Mr. Prusiner believes that they are, in fact, made up of the proteins that are causing, that he thinks causes things like scrapie and potentially Alzheimer's and dementia and stuff. So maybe dementia, I'm not sure. I may have lumped that in together. I don't think it, I think they've just proven that it's not the same ones in Alzheimer's, I believe. But the point being is that he's discovered this protein that seems to replicate itself. And not only that, it seems to create these tubular structures that have up until now been assumed to be just junk in the brain. So very exciting. But then even more exciting, forget the science. Well, don't forget the science. The science is fantastic. But at the same time, he's got groups of people actively trying to undermine his research. Not just because they want to say they don't, they feel that they've got a better way of, well, I guess they do feel that they've got a better way of proving it, but it sounds positively vindictive. Like he's got a guy trying to hire away his lab people so that things run to the grind to a halt and he can't continue. And it's just, man, it's just, who knew scientists could be such petty jerks? But it seems they are. Uh-oh, did you say replicate? Exactly, Superior Dave. These are proteins. These are like replicator proteins. These are like the replicators, except there's no DNA. That's what freaks everyone out. Is they're like, well, how is it? How does a protein self-replicate? And I think I cheated. I did cheat a little bit. I jumped ahead by going to YouTube and looking up prions and stuff. It seems to me that if I've got this right, that the proteins are of this odd shaped protein, and if they hit a properly shaped protein the right way, they knock it into a similarly misshaped protein that then sort of wobbles off and knocks other ones, and it can actually combine like that. It seems pretty cool. Science is so cutthroat. It really is. I mean, humans are so cutthroat. That's the problem. If you had to decide which ship you take, Daedalus or TARDIS, TARDIS any day. I was asked this in France actually. TARDIS. I love the TARDIS. The Stargate's cool and all, but my own personal TARDIS any day. I don't mind if it's broken and it only looks like a police box. That works fine for me. At least I now have an excuse for all the junk in my brain. Now I need an excuse for all the lard in my butt. No, you've got no excuse for that, Daniel. You should be on the torture device like me. I'm doing it every other day now. I was doing every day, and I was just finding it wasn't so much the aches that were bothering me because I ache all the time anyways. It was the sharp pains I was finding in my knees and my ankles and stuff. So I thought, you know what, maybe Mr. Obsessive is overdoing it a little bit and he needs to slow down. So I started going every other day with the blessing of both my wife and my son, and it's making a difference. Yeah, I don't have the same kind of sort of, I get the aches but not the pains, if that makes sense. I'm looking forward to tonight because Baz is threatening to order Papa John's pizza, and he's discovered he's in love with this pizza that has cheese in the crust as well. So what's great about that apparently is that you can then warm it up the next day and you get the cheesy crust as well. So in the microwave and stuff. So he's very excited about that. God, I wish I was 16 again. I feel like I still got the same, in many ways, I feel like I still got the same ridiculous sense of excitement about things. But it's just fun to watch. And he came to breakfast with us, Crow Scratch and I. Crow Scratch, go check him out on Amazon. Guy's name's Crow Scratch. He's written an amazing series. He's on his 8th book. It is called Tales from the Haunted Library, and mwah, fabulous kind of stuff. Just really fun, creepy fun stories to read, short stories. Bought a pedometer to motivate myself into moving. Lost it after 2 weeks. I was surprised how motivating a $10 pedometer was. I need to get another one. Doesn't your phone do that? Like, doesn't the phone or your yeah? I mean, I feel like, do you want an actual pedometer? I had a Fitbit for a while, which I thought was kind of cool. The advantage of the Fitbit is you just don't have to charge it that much. It doesn't take that much power. But I don't do that. I'll tell you what the most effective weight loss program. If you want a weight loss program, I would say the best way is tracking calories. And you track your calories, and then you can track the calories of your exercise. And for about a year, I did that. And I've never lost as much weight as I lost doing that. Now, did I keep it off? No. Lardo Hewlett, Stargate Pizza. It was right back up where he was again. But at the same time, it's a very valuable way of getting a sense of what you eat and just and like if I do the math on the pizza, I'm not going to eat the pizza. That's why I don't do the math. But if I was trying to actively lose some serious weight, honestly, that would be my best suggestion to you, because I had like there's a little app on my phone. Every time I ate something, I'd like geek out and write down what it all was and try to get the brand name and try to get it as accurate as possible. Eventually, it'd be just wonderful to be able to have something you could sort of take a photo of your plate and it automatically organizes what it is and tells you what the calories are and stuff. That would be interesting. I've also played with. I try not to say so much. I've noticed, not that I watched these, but I've watched some of them back in passing, or to add a better thumbnail or something. And I'm not at home watching my own videos, just to be to be very clear. Maybe I am, and I say a lot, which I really don't like. It's just I feel like it's better to pause and say nothing than to say. And is creeping more and more into what I say. So I'm trying actively not to do that. So every time you hear a halting stop, in my head, I'm going, it's kind of a lazy way of pausing, I think, or a way for your mouth to move while your brain is not, type thing. So Papa John's makes a great cheesesteak pizza. Sebastian is suggesting one that was jalapenos, mushroom, and cheese. That was it. That was all that was on it. That sounds like I'm going to go into ADR, which is I have to do some recording for some. It's called ADR, additional dialogue recording, or there's other things you could call it as well, audio something. Anyways, I use the term additional dialogue recording, and what you do is you go into the studio and you have to say what is being said on the screen that you've said on it in a movie, because there's like a bump on the line, or someone dropped a microphone, or someone opened a can of pop or something while you were talking, or there's some kind of a noise over your line and they want a nice clean version of that. Sometimes the only way to do that is to go into a studio, look at the picture, sync it up, and re-say the line. Often you have to say the line before it, the line after it, just to sort of mix it all in together, although the technology is getting so good that they can pop in and out for literally words at this point. So it's getting so much better and so much easier. It is an art, I would say, the real art to getting that stuff right. And it's terrifying to me. I've always found it terrifying. I just, every time I go in there, I go like, what if I can't do it? Like, what if I just cannot get it right? And sometimes you have directors who will just have something very, very specific they want, and you have to do many, many. I'll tell you who's like that is Guillermo del Toro. Guillermo del Toro. I was in the studio re-recording so many different things here and there, just for little tweaks on lines, or I want a little more excitement, or I want a little more breathlessness, and I couldn't get over how much of the stuff he did. But wow, he got an Oscar, so I guess he knows what he's doing. And I also learned on C. This was an interesting one. On C, there was a scene that they queued up for us, and Tropper said, "I I just I think this you everyone is just too freaked out right now." And I was like, "Well, we're in a giant battleship and we're being surrounded and stuff." He said, "Yeah, but this is the beginning of the show, and we need to be." And of course, we'd shot it, 6 months after Jason had left to start on Aquaman, and we don't know what's going on. We're shooting every day. We don't know. Anyways, so it's I really don't think it's anyone's fault, but I blame myself, of course, because I always assume that it's just something I've done wrong, and to some extent, yes, it was. We watched the scene, and I was like, oh crap, this is ridiculous. Like, we are just like, oh my god, and it's like, what, why are they all so upset? So he suggested that we record a couple of lines, and then we started doing it, and I said, why don't we just do the whole thing? And actually, he might have said, let's just do the whole thing. I can't remember what it was. All I know is I was like, oh, maybe no, maybe he did want the whole scene from the whole thing from the beginning. But I remember doing a couple of lines and going like, hey, this is actually working. Like, it was fascinating. So I was delivering it in a kind of a shouty way, but I then re-recorded it at an intense but more regular volume. And man, it is fascinating. If you ever see C, it's I can't remember. It's the end of season 2 or the beginning of season 3. I can't remember, one of the two. And there's a scene with us all in this old abandoned battleship, basically. And it's a great scene now. And I'll tell you, when I watched it in the sound recording thing, I was like, oh dear God, I'm going to act in jail. I actually emailed Tropper or texted him and said, Jonathan Tropper's the guy who wrote the show, and said thank you for saving me from the acting police. That you've saved me from the clutches of the terrible acting police. Hello from South Plainfield, New Jersey. Hello to you, William. I worked at the Dole canning plant in Hawaii the summer between high school and college, and I still like pineapple. Good for you, Watcher. I'm a big pineapple fan myself, although, little thing for you, I may not be allergic to citrus, but I am allergic to fresh pineapple. There's something about that boundary layer between the pineapple and the pineapple skin that just my lips look like Mick Jagger, and if I am silly enough to eat it alone, I run the risk of having my throat close up as well, because that happened to me once when I first moved out of the house. First night that I moved out of my parents' house and I had my first apartment, and I went there and I thought, I'm by myself and no one will see me, so I'm gonna have a fresh pineapple, because it doesn't matter if my lips blow up, no one's there to look at me and make fun of me. So I got this pineapple, I ate this pineapple, I was like, oh, it's okay. My lips all came up like this, and I was like, oh, see, it's not a problem. Nobody cares because nobody's here. And then I felt it start going down my throat, and I thought, uh-oh. So I called my dad. The first night I'm on my own, my dad has kicked me out of the house. I call my dad and say, what do I do? What do I do? And he said, go to the window. And I'm like, go to the window? Okay, I'll go to the window. I'm thinking he's got like some old medical trick or something. Maybe cool the lips on the glass or something. And he said, look down. I was like, okay, I look down. And he says, what do you see? And I was like, a hospital. There's a hospital there's an emergency ward across the street. So I ended up going in there. Of course, I had to wait so long that by the time they got to me, I was fine. So I left before I got treated. But yeah, I was my first night on my own. Oh boy, here's a grown up for you. Daddy, I ate a pineapple and I can't believe. There you go. Yes, I remember you telling the story about you leaving home and eating pineapple. Yes, Watcher, there you go. I'm already repeating my stories. I apologize. I have a mild citrus allergy. I don't swell up, but get cold sores. Oh God, cold sores are terrible, Shelley Bell. That's awful. My mom got cold sores, and I was always just so like freaked out. Like, stay away from me. The cold sore, just that whole idea is just. Perchance you are allergic to bromelain. Potentially, Matt. Is that something that I think it's like? I think it's a combination of there's the acidity and something in the flesh of the outer flesh of the pineapple. So if that is what bromelain is, then so be it. Then I agree with you. Absolutely, that must be what it is. All right. What else? What other questions do we have in here? Who else has got stuff? I said I'm allowed to say I'm scrolling. I'm scrolling. I think I let myself have that. Be thankful there are no Italians here. What? Are there no Italians here? Why would we be thankful about that? I did have a Dalek figure. I had many Dalek figures because I was thinking about your old video Dalek and Rodney or Doctor Who figure. That's right. I had the Doctor Who figure and my little Dalek, and that was my "Where is he now?" video. I should do another one of those. It's the same. It would be the same though. It's much the same, except my son's bigger, and he knows I'm an idiot at this point. So yeah, it's not as surprising. I have to do a little promotional video for. I'm doing this thing with the Companion. I'm always a bit nervous about this because the Companion is a for pay service, but they do this podcast with Brad Wright and Cooper, Robert Cooper, and so they wanted to talk about a couple of episodes of Stargate and such. And so I need to do a little promo video for it. And I was trying to talk Baz into helping me because the last time we did it was just so much fun. I did my auditions for auditions for Blade Runner and stuff. Yeah, it's fun. Anyways. Ooh, that's the point. Can you have pizza on? Yes, I can, Matt. I can have pineapple on a pizza because it's tinned pineapple. Tinned pineapple, not a problem. Don't know what it is. Something about it. Maybe the sugar or something that they put in there, or the sugar from the pineapple itself maybe breaks something down. But a tinned pineapple, not a problem. Not a problem. And I can even eat some fresh pineapple as long as it's sort of saucy. If it's just straight pineapple and it touches my lips and it's just not good. So yeah, I generally avoid it. It's generally smarter probably to avoid that than anything else. I'm trying to think. There was something else in the learn part of my Burn and Learn that I was fascinated by. It was something about the way they studied these things. It was they were comparing. I guess they wanted to see if there was a connection between these mental health issues, this sort of mental deterioration, in a dancer. There's this apparently very famous dancer who was still dancing in his 70s, and then he started sort of tripping and falling and was having some issues with memory and stuff, and they diagnosed him with this kind of Kuru like disease. And so to help them figure out if these prions were part of the problem, they they called up the university that had his brain, and they sent them slices in paraffin of the brain, which they could then stain with this red dye of some sort, and that would show these plaques and stuff, and it sort of proved that that was in fact one of the things it was doing. But there was something else that I found fascinating about the process that they were doing. There was a yeah, I have to look it up again. This is the problem with exercising while you're reading as well. I find some of the retention stuff is tough. I am a big fan of jotting down notes now because if I don't write down something, it's out of my head so fast. Look, if I don't by the end of a sentence, I've forgotten what I was talking about. So, oh, no problem for me. But is a problem if you are Italian? Oh, pizza on. Oh, yes, pineapple on a pizza. I think is sacrilege. Is it not to Italians and to traditional pizza things? I I have no time for that. I have no time. There is no right or wrong when it comes to these things. I think it's purely a matter of taste and do what thou wilt, as they would say. Tinned pineapple, okay for you. Then it must be the enzyme. I think heat affects food. Oh, so it's possible you think it's killed. It's possible, yeah. The process of tinning the pineapple kills whatever the enzyme is that causes that. I miss pizza, crust, carbs, cheese, lactose, sauce, acid reflux. Oh my god. Well, here's two things I use. You could do the lactose pills, and you can also do the what do I take? They're called Nexium. Nexium really helps me with the acid reflux and stuff. Because I'm sorry, pizza doesn't agree with me, but I just freaking love it. I'm sorry, I'm going down with that plane. I'm going down with that pizza plane. You can also there's also some not bad. I feel weird even saying this, but there are actually some not bad gluten-free pizzas. I'm surprised that I'm saying this because I used to mock gluten-free pizzas mercilessly. Never ask for pineapple on your pizza in Italy. Considered a mortal sin. Okay, good to know. I need to use the lactate pills. They're fascinating too. Just the idea that you're tricking your body into creating the things that it needs to process milk. I mean, it sounds to me like we probably shouldn't be drinking milk anyways, as long as we do. Like, I think we're one of the only species, if not the only species, that's still drinking milk into adulthood. And I think that certainly as you get older, I'm sure it seems to get more difficult to process the large. No, I can't do milkshakes anymore. God, I miss milkshakes. Oh, milk! Now I want a milkshake. Can you tell I've just exercised and I haven't eaten yet? What time is it? 4:39. I can't order pizza yet. Damn it! He's probably not going to want to eat till later either. So tomorrow, up bright and early. I've got some recording to do. I've got some. I will come back. I will have to, of course, do dog walks. But I'm really hoping to talk to Lance Gimpy G again for our Monday Damn Dirty Apes stream, which I think I'll try to stream again both on YouTube and on Twitch, which I didn't do today because I'm just going from my phone today. Drinking milk from another species is something only humans do. See, we're weird. Stanford's right. We're like weird. We're like cosmic weirdos. Speaking of cosmic weirdos, I started watching a show that you should check out. If there's any like Mobius fans out there, is it Mobius? I think it's Mobius. He's the French artist, but it's a similar type of animation, and it's called Scavenger Rain. Scavenger's Rain. I found it on of all the weirdest places. I found it on Fubo, which is the weird app that we bought for Baz's football games, so his soccer games. And for some reason, I guess they have some kind of agreement with HBO or Adult Swim or whatever it is. And it's this show called Scavenger's Reign, and it's just kind of mind blowing. If you want to see science fiction with creatures that are so make such wonderful sense despite the fact that no one's thought of them before. Creatures that create light and hypnotize their victims, not to eat them, but to have their victims go and get food for them. And weird fungal things and bird-like animals and it's just gorgeous. It's not a big fast-paced action show by any means. It's all animated, but it's just stunning. I was put off at first. The very beginning, I was like, "What?" and it didn't really grab me right away, but I kept watching and got completely sucked in. I think I've watched like 4 episodes of it now. It's just gorgeous. Apparently, it's on Prime as well. Oh, yeah, I think it's on Prime if you pay for an extra. You have to pay for the Adult Swim or whatever it is, but I can't recommend it enough. It's absolutely gorgeous. The other one I've got to watch more of is the Blue-Eyed Samurai because that is also a stunning looking piece of work. I The animation stuff is absolutely gorgeous. Who do we have to say? Hello, Lloyd. How are you, sir? Every Friday is pizza night at our house. My autistic boys look forward to it every week. Well, you are not alone, Shelley Bell. We are big, big fans of the pizza. We usually try to do it Friday night, but Jane was not leaving for England until Saturday, and she had pizza, I think, for lunch. So we had some very nice sushi. And so we did pizza tonight, which is good because I get to order much more than we need, and then it'll feed us for a week, which is good because Jane will be away for a week. And on HBO Max, yeah, very good, very good. Lloyd wants to know how everyone is. I think we're good. I feel sweaty and gross, and I'm getting colder and colder by the second because I'm still outside. But I've gathered up my microscope stuff. This is a fabulous little, it's a little tricky, a little hard to use, I have to say, a little fiddly, should we say? But my God, the footage you can get. I want to see if I've in fact narrowed down and then these are just there's slides that have a little concave. Is it concave? Convex? Concave. Yeah. Concave section. So you can put a sample in water in there, which is exactly perfect for a tardigrade. I'm convinced they run away, that they hide. I saw one just rolling around. It was like this little piece of green and there's like dirt and moss, and it was just sort of slowly rolling around, and it was this tardigrade clinging to the side, which is just kind of, I wonder if tardigrades play. So I'm hoping to get some footage of that. Pizza with extra cheese, ham, and sliced jalapenos. Yummy. I'm with you, Paul. I honestly, I don't think you can go wrong with anything on pizza. I'm trying to think if there's anything on pizza that I've had that I've just been like, no. I've had curry on pizza, it was really good. I've had jerk chicken on pizza, jerk chicken, pineapple, and a bunch of other stuff. Truffles on I don't think you could. I'm drooling. I'm literally drooling talking about it. But I don't know. I'm not sure you can go wrong with anything on pizza, even plain pizza. I even like plain pizza. As I get older, more foods don't agree or are bad. I know, Watcher, that sucks. I had to give up turkey, asparagus, and shrimp because these foods are bad for gout, which is a form of arthritis. That's right, gout. Gout always makes me think of like, I don't know, like what would it be like Dickensian England? Gout just seems like something from the past. But yes, I've got a friend who actually has the same issue. So your advice, I started using. So on your advice, I started using Fusion 360. Oh no, isn't it great? Roxy plays. Oh, it's fantastic. The other one that's really fun, depending on what you want to do with it. I mean, Fusion 360 is great for actually making things you want to then 3D print or cut or whatever. If you want to just play with 3D modeling, Blender is fantastic, absolutely fantastic. I want to get up to speed on Blender and Unreal Engine. Those are two things that I would love to get myself good at, along with cybersecurity and everything else. But life is just too many exciting things to do, like freaking exercise. I had haggis on pizza. Wow, Daniel, you are a brave soul because haggis alone is a terrifying thing. The best haggis, I don't like the idea of haggis at all, obviously, but I'm a sausage fan. I like sausage. So black pudding, which is basically what they call blood pudding, something else I love. And haggis, I've got to say, I loved it once it had the whiskey poured on top of it. Oh, it was, or scotch or whatever the alcohol was poured on top, and then this just lovely meaty, stewy, porridgey kind of, oh, delicious. My gosh. I should start hanging with Q more because he's all about the food. What else we got on the keyboard? What's on the keyboard? Somehow my digestive tract can handle just about everything. Good for you, Paul. I wish I was the same. If not, I have the runs for a day and I'm flush clean. That's so great, Paul. Thank you for sharing. I'm so glad you can be here. Let us know. Oh my God, it's the Hewlett Health Show. 3D printing. Oh, Roxy plays 3D printing, then Fusion 360 for sure. The other one, honestly, if you want to just knock something off really quickly or a prototype and you don't want to deal with all the fuss and muss, use Tinkercad. Tinkercad is Autodesk's simple to use. It's just sort of aimed at kids, but it's getting more and more complex as they go, and it's able to do all sorts of really fun stuff. So if you want to just knock something out in a 3D print, it's a great way to go for sure. Is the Tinkercad. Cyber is awesome. I highly recommend it. Okay, Cyber. What is Cyber? Is that a show? Rebecca Haskell makes the best homemade pizza. Send it over, Rebecca. Send it over. I have to log off. Have a great week. Shelly Bell, you go. Lovely to see you. I will see you, what, Tuesday? I think I get a day off tomorrow. Well, day off. I got to work. But, I don't have to exercise tomorrow, I don't think. My dad loved, oh, no, we see you tomorrow. See you tomorrow for what do I call it? Damn Dirty Apes with the fabulous MPG. My dad loved black pudding. Oh, yeah, black pudding. As a Hungarian, haggis is child's play. Oh, that's a good point. That's true. Hungarians, I was married to a Hungarian for a couple of years. Disaster, disaster. More for her than me, probably, but certainly. But the food, oh my God, you guys do meat like no, it's nobody's business. There's a wonderful restaurant that I believe has just closed here. It was called Country Style on Bloor Street. Yeah, Bloor West. Fabulous. It had this, you get this wooden plate stacked high with schnitzels and meats and sausage. Can you tell I'm hungry? Anyone tell I'm hungry? How am I going to survive until pizza? It's only 5 o'clock, for God's sake. Not even 5 o'clock. I like scrapple and spam. I don't know what scrapple is, but spam's delicious. Too much salt, but delicious. Yeah, there's a lot of salt in this room. Have you ever had pizza in Japan? It's not quite the same as American pizza. I've not, Lloyd. I've had what they call sushi pizza, where they do the rice base instead of a dough base. They have almost a fried rice base, which is just delicious. Tinkercad has saved me. Yeah, Tinkercad saved me on numerous occasions. I'm reviving my CR10, upgraded with Clipper. No way. Seriously? Cybersecurity. I like spicy pizza. Yeah, me too. One of my favorites is the Diablo pizza, which is like a spicy meats, and sometimes they put some honey on it, and oh my God, it's so good. Cybersecurity is about making sure insurance forms are filled out and the checkbox is ticked. It's mostly paperwork and making sure things are updated. There's very little actual I'm in. Opal Mist, killing my dreams. But I just like the knowledge Opal Mist. I don't think I'm ever going to be a cybersecurity expert or anything. I love it's kind of like lock picking. I'm never going to pick a lock, but I just want to know how to do it. I think that's the fun for me. You can ruin a lot of things by making it your job. I know that. Certainly, I have those days with acting. Trust me. But I just love all the skills out there, the tools and the tricks looking into OSINT, these open source intelligence gathering stuff, where a guy will look at a paparazzi photo of someone and show how you could then track them down, type thing. Which sounds creepy when I say it, but it's just an interesting. It's a mind game. It's just a way of. It's like doing a crossword puzzle to me, or that kind of stuff. Although I hate crossword puzzles, but computer related puzzle solving, I love that stuff. Speaking of which, my son just did a new escape room. He did an escape room downtown, which he loved, which was an exorcist escape room, where they had to like save some little girl or something from an evil demon or something. But anyway, apparently it was absolutely terrifying, but he loved every second of it. So I'll have to check that one out. We got a held for review message. I like looking at those because they're always interesting. Like and subscribe, people. Wait a sec. You got banned? You got held for review because it says like and subscribe? Well, let's show that one. Thank you, Matt. I mean, feel free to like and subscribe, of course. I don't know, honestly, that the numbers are going to increase that much for a sweaty old guy after his exercise. But oh snap, we in the deep today. We are in the deep. It's true. Sushi pizza. Wow, what that? Oh, sushi pizza is delicious. I got to say, absolutely fantastic. My favorite food had to be gumbo. Oh, gumbo. Oh my God, Eternal Noob gumbo is fantastic. Interesting. The traditional haggis has some organ meats and not allowed in the U.S. There's a lot of U.S. North American stuff that's not allowed here. But we can't get a ton of these cheeses that are delicious in Paris because they're not pasteurized or whatever it is. So we came home with like hordes of cheese. It was fabulous. I think the problem, I guess, is that casual eaters are not going to want to take the risk, I suppose. I feel like you should be able to take the risk. I don't like the idea that some organization like a government decides that we're not grown up enough to do these things. I think you can have warnings, and absolutely there should be warnings about stuff, but I think we should be allowed to do it. The idea that some naturally occurring substances and plants and whatever and cheese processes that have been around for God knows however long can't have a label slapped on them saying like, look, just be smart about this. There can be issues and go from there. But I get it. I get it. You got to regulate food and you got to make sure people are safe and stuff. I'm sort of reminded of this. I remember there's a joke that my wife and I share about this. There was a stroller we had when Sebastian was very, very young. And there was a label that was attached to it that you couldn't take off. It was like, one of those like mattress like stickers. And it had a picture showing that you shouldn't fold the stroller while the child was inside of it. And I thought, you know, if you had a child and you don't know that, I'm very worried for society. But I suppose it's not even that. It's like it's so that you can't do it and then try to sue them for it, I suppose. So that's assuming people read the labels well enough to find any warnings on it. Yeah, that's true. But so it's illegal not to read the labels? I mean, that's the next thing. Hey Marco, how are you? Teetering, says Danny. Teetering. Who's teetering? You are fettering on fear factor food here. I'm getting close. It's true. It's true. I'm getting close. Grossest food. What are you people eating? What have you eaten that you think that might be considered, you know, would be the term for it? Extreme food. I think one of my extreme foods would have to be a worms that I had in Mexico. I had these incredibly spicy worms, and I also had crickets. At the time, was seemed very odd. Now it seems to be becoming the staple. We're all going to be eating. I think we're all going to be eating insects before too long, honestly. And anything else I've tried? I'm trying to think. Is there anything yeah, there's not. I mean, I'm not a big anything. The gelatinous stuff bothers me. Anything that's got a gelatinous consistency to it is tough. Kangaroo steak. I don't know that I've had kangaroo steak. Stargate timekeepers. You ate them, Marco? Unpronounceable cow lung or cow brain. Oh God, we're not allowed to eat cow brains, are we? I thought there was a whole mad cow issue. Well, not illegal. Just as we get closer to idiocracy, people are running on autopilot here more and more. I know idiocracy. How bizarre is it that that film, which was so ridiculously silly, well, and The Simpsons for that matter, it's all coming true. I mean, it's who knew that The Simpsons was going to be the new Nostradamus of our time? You know what I mean? In Holland, a company had to put "Do Not Eat" label on its motorbike as someone cut one into pieces and ate it for a world record thing. Wow, Nixie. I feel like I feel like we shouldn't label them in those situations because do we want those people around? Similar to venison. Ah, yes, okay, venison. I would do. I mean, look, again. There was bear. I had a bear sausage when I was in Eastern Canada, because apparently that's what they do. I had a moose sausage also in Eastern Canada. I had a few of those weird things there, actually, because they eat all of that stuff. I keep saying Idiocracy is not a comedy film, but actually a documentary from the future. Yeah, it's kind of scary, isn't it, Alex? It's just bizarre. I mean, this is my whole thing about education, right? This is why I'm so big on the tech bandit stuff and improving the educational system is just because I feel like an educated population will make better decisions in everything from finance to governance to justice and equality and looking after people, health. There's just so many things I think could be solved by an intelligent population, of which I am not one of them. I mean, I'm a high school dropout. I'm thoroughly interested in learning, and I think I've spent most of my life as a lifelong learner. But the standardized education was a disaster for me, and I think that if it's a disaster for me, it's probably a disaster for a lot of other people as well. So I do want to see. I just want to see a population that wants to learn stuff. I think it's kind of frustrating to. I suppose maybe that's an age thing too. Like I didn't want to learn when I was a kid. Don't say that. You know what? I say that. That's not true. That isn't true. I take that back because I think I thought I didn't want to learn because I didn't realize that what I was interested in also counted as things that learning things. I mean, the amount of stuff I learned by reading Doctor Who books and then going, is that real? And looking up the science as best as I could, or reading the scripts that I had to read, or reading the books on authors and actors and stuff. Actually, what am I saying? No, I think the key is to. I think in a way, it's almost you want to either you want to hide the fact that kids are learning something from them so that they don't know they're learning so they don't stop, or you just make them realize that learning is fun, and it was when they first showed up at school they were interested, and then by grade four it's there. Everyone hates learning, right? I mean, not everyone, but certainly a bunch of them. I'm 68 years old and still learning. Good for you, Nexus. Look, don't. This is the key, right? You got to keep failing. if you don't fail, you don't learn anything. Like as I joke around with the tech bandits, if something works the first time, I'm like, ah, damn, we're not going to learn anything. Do we think that at home learning, thanks to Corona, has made kids more independent of learning? It's a good question, Nixie. I think I think it worked incredibly well for some kids and was incredibly disruptive for others. I think for my son, I think he could have learned from home for the rest of his education. I don't think he just he lives and breathes his computer, and if he can do his work on the computer as well, he sees no issue with that. I think what they were fighting was they were fighting distracted kids in many cases, and I think in a way I think that's part of the I think that was part of the failing of it as well, is that they're trying to do school like in school, only online, and it's just not the same. You have to do things differently. There has to be a different approach. It was really weird, actually. I got a call. Get this. This high school dropout got a call from one of the teachers at my local school when the pandemic first hit to ask me about how the Tech Bandits was going because I was doing an online Tech Bandits with the kids. That's sort of what I mean. I feel bad. I haven't done it for ages, but I've been doing I've been doing I've been doing them at the local community center instead. But I should go back to the to that approach to some extent because there's some people who just exist online. I mean, Vipup's always online. He's great, fantastic. The stuff, and he'll drift in and drift out depending on how interested or not interested he is in what's going on as one of the tech bandits. And what I discovered very quickly was that you can try to fight the fact that there's other things going on their screens, or you could just realize that that is how they function these days. Is it the best way to learn? Probably not. I can't imagine it's a great way to learn if you've got a video game going in one screen and a video on the other, and you're trying to listen to a class. I can't imagine it's a good way to learn. But guess what? That's how it's happening. So I feel that in a way, our attention span has gone from what is it like? Is it 1 minute down to 6 seconds or something because of social media? Like the difference in the attention span that we as a generally as a species now are able to hold online has dropped to almost nothing. So I do think it's troubling. Dr. Salty Ball Pisaki, 51. Yeah, I'm in the 50s too. I'm 55. Am I 55? I think I'm 55. Do the math. I didn't discover until I graduated college that I didn't learn by hearing. I'm very visual. High school was more book learning, so I did well. College was lectures and note taking, and I did horrible. Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, I mean, there's definitely different. I think, so traditional, for want of a better word, schooling definitely is easier for certain types of brain. It did not work for me at all. Didn't work for me. I just couldn't. I didn't want to sit still. I didn't want to be in the room. I felt claustrophobic. I felt ill. I would fall asleep. I would wake up. I would. It just. Yeah, it was terrible. It was horrible. I mean, even just thinking about it, I hated every second of it. But I did collaborate with a bunch of great people and got us all into film and TV, and we made movies, and we still continue to make movies to this day. So was it a waste? Absolutely not. My dad says, "Oh, what a waste sending you to that school," but the reality is that I met people who are still very valuable, very important parts of my life, and as it turns out, career as well. So I think don't underestimate the community angle of school as well. I've even found that with Sebastian, where Baz hasn't necessarily gone to the best and the brightest of schools. He's chosen a path that is quite local and has specific friends at that school. And I worried about that. I was like, shouldn't he be at but there's this school that's perfect for nerds who want to do game design or whatever and that kind of stuff. Like I was really worried that I wasn't forcing him into a more productive and challenging approach to school. But you know what? Honestly, he's happy. And I think happy goes a long way. I think you learn a lot more when you're happy than when you're stressed out and maybe you're not where you want to be and you're not. I mean, I think there's a place for that. I think you want to learn to adapt to that. And I think it's good to be thrown into the mix every so often for things. But I think from a school standpoint, to have a sense of home and a sense of belonging and a group of friends, I think there's nothing more valuable than that. Honestly, I think that allows you to learn. It allows you to play. It allows you to negotiate with people, and there's just so many skills there. I mean, he's just. I'm so happy for him that he's got that. I think that's just absolutely wonderful. And he doesn't dread it the way I do, or I did. I dread him going to school too. If I had my way, we'd be homeschooling. Absolutely. because then I can learn as well. But as my wife said, there's no way you fake genius that you're teaching our son anything. She also was really big on university as well. She's a big fan of university. I am not. I've got to say. I think there's absolutely a place for university. Absolutely. I think there's two types of people who need to go to university. People who don't know what they want to do. Fantastic. Go to university. Find that area of expertise. It's a great place to do that. And also people who have a very clear focus and know that that school is going to give them what they want. I think that's wonderful as well. But I think there is a bit of a fallacy of like this sort of the drudgery of school that leads to the drudgery of university, which leads to a job. I just don't think that exists anymore. I don't think that a university degree guarantees you the kind of position that it used to. And I think that the biggest issue I have with it is the cost. I don't think our younger generation should be paying for education. I mean, we should make it as easy as possible for everyone to be as smart and as well trained as possible, because it's only going to help us from a purely selfish standpoint. I want a population that is freaking smart, that's going to have great jobs and earn huge amounts of money and be like a world class country that can then support me in my old age. I just think that just makes the most sense. Plus, come on, like, learning stuff. Like, how cool is that? Why would you want to stop it? Why would you want to get any roadblocks between kids and that stuff? It just drives me nuts. And I mean, I can speak for almost three countries here because Baz was in school in England for a little while. He was in school in Canada for most of his life, and he was in school in California as well. And I suppose to some extent in Washington State, very very young. Those are the younger grades. And I just I it really bothers me that the only people who can have who have access to the these amazing new cool school systems are people who have a lot of money, and we've been lucky. Like, I got, the Stargate did us proud, and my work pays a lot of bills, so we could afford to do private school, and we did try private for a bit during the pandemic, actually, because we were concerned about that. But it shouldn't be that way. Like, it just shouldn't be that way. We should have figured this out. Why haven't we figured out how to teach people properly yet? That's just nuts. Anyways, lots of people want to learn. It's called getting lost in Google. Yeah, there's a weird thing that happens to the watcher. I think there's a tendency, and I found this even just doing the email of awesomeness, which you should all sign up for, by the way. Go to techbandits.org, sign up for my email of awesomeness. It's free, and every week you will get pretty well every week. Pretty well every week, you will get really cool science and technology stuff and some blurbs about what I'm thinking and stuff. And I also record it for you, so you don't even have to read it, but you just get all the links so you can see what's going on. It's almost like glorified show notes now for a little video. But yeah, I can't remember what I was saying now. Sign up, email, awesome. Oh yeah, the email of awesomeness. Just trying to focus. I think trying to get, if you go onto social media looking to learn something, it's all very cool and well, but you will just get pulled in every single direction. And many times you will not be learning. You will just be sucking in whatever the crap is that they're giving you. So what I've discovered is a much better approach for me is to subscribe to the newsletters for the magazines and such that are of use to me. And then I will read through the articles that make sense or that I want to focus on. And then I can sort of go down the rabbit hole from that. And that's fun. Like, this week I'm doing a piece on a sunken treasure, which is just fascinating because it's not something that I'm like, history, archaeology, I guess, a little bit. I prefer the technology type stuff. But of course, there's tons of tech with all that stuff, which I hadn't thought of. And as a result, I've sort of been following a bunch of links through the shipwreck community, and found magazines and robotics companies and stuff. So it's just kind of fun to find something to focus on. I try to focus on 3 to 4 specific topics, and I'll natter on about that and get to research that. But it just stops me from doing the social media research, which I just think is incredibly easy to lose yourself in. I mean, and also you get this kind of, it's like I feel like it's all odd or I'm not even, my mouth is freezing now. It's getting so cold. It's all hors d'oeuvres and no meals. I feel like it's lots of these little, oh, what's that? Oh, what's that one? And it's like you're getting all these little bits and pieces of things, but you're not getting a proper meal. You're not getting that satisfying, full feeling that you get from actually diving into a topic properly. So I think there's this illusion of knowledge that happens because, oh my god, I saw a thing about a flying fire engine, and then, oh my, and there's this type of radiation is, oh my gosh, there's a fly that does this. You just all get turned into Cliff Claverns from Cheers. For those of you young kids out there, he was one of the guys at the bar who would come in and always have some kind of interesting fact that nobody cared about. And I feel like that's what we're turning a lot of our kids are turning into this sort of regurgitating stuff that they've heard. And even worse now, there's a lot of just nonsense out there that's being spouted out as truth. So, oh, no spoilers for the email of Awesome Awesomeness. Oh, that's fine, Nixie. Yeah, you're fine. I haven't spoiled anything. In fact, you know what? I'll delete it now. I became a computer programmer because I was the only course I did well in college. I wasn't looking for it. Lucky I made some money in my life, but it is a job, not a career for me. Oh, interesting. Okay. I mean, I look, I'm not saying, well, certainly none of us, not all of us have the freedom to just pursue the things that they love. And I don't think, and here's the thing, if it's a job, it's not everything you love. Because the reality is, at some point, there are job like aspects to anything you do. I mean, all the movie stars, I mean, Jason Momoa looks like he's having fun all the time, and probably he is for most of the point. But there's just nonsense you have to deal with in a career, even as an actor, that you don't want to have to deal with. And for him, I can't even imagine that, the paparazzi and all that kind of side of stuff, but privacy and all that nonsense. But I just feel like you have to learn to work hard for sure. I think it is untrue or silly to think that anything you do, you're going to love every second of. You do have to learn to have, I think, the discipline to pursue stuff. I hate learning lines. I freaking hate it. That's why I hardly audition anymore, partially because I just hate learning the lines. So unless I really want the role, I find it hard to motivate myself to learn the lines. It takes everything in every fiber of my being to focus long enough to memorize those lines and have to say them over and over again. I literally have to start like a day or two before the actual audition or the taping of the audition because it takes me a really long time to learn those lines. And for some reason I've got a reputation for always that guy who just says lots of lines. I'm like, oh great. And I can do it, and luckily I still love it enough to want to do that, but it's still work. It's still I wouldn't say hard work, but certainly work. MC10 computer with 10K memory and a cassette deck storage. Oh my God. We'll sit back and wait for it to load. 32 core, yeah, 512 gigabyte RAM. Really? 512 gigabyte RAM. Wait a second. 32 core. Oh, now at 32. Oh, I was going to say it was. I was like, whoa, 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 wait a second. How can you have a 10K memory and 32? Okay, I see. Now it's a 32 core, 512 gigabyte RAM and Quest 3. Yeah, fantastic. Typing this in VR. Oh, really? How are you finding that, Mr. Salty Ball Psaki? Um, because my son is convinced that I'll like that. That the idea of like I'm struggling to find places to do my work because this is only getting colder. I'm worried I'm going to start freezing things, but it's including myself and freezing my bits. But I think it's also the idea of being able to put on a goggle setup and have, oh, there's my office. Like that's what a great idea. Like if the clarity is good enough and I'm not going to want to puke every time I move. The idea that there could be monitors, I could have multiple monitors set up, and I could have on one, I could have this, and one, I could have that. I'm working on this one. I can look over there to see what the details of the game are. I don't know what game it would be, but probably like some football game my son made me watch. More likely the battle bots over here, and this here, maybe Hacksmith and some cool YouTube videos over here. The idea, actually, I get nothing done. What am I saying? I never got, by the end of the sentence, I've changed my mind entirely. I would never get anything done. But the idea that you could have an office space without an office space is kind of neat. Like, it's kind of a weird future. The idea of like, what if we're all sitting in little cubicles with our things on, and it looks like we've got a palatial office to work in? I mean, yeah, it's a bit dystopian, but at the same time, it's kind of a cool factor. Excuse me. Okay, that's my cue. That is my cue. It's been too long. My nose is getting cold. I've been talking for almost an hour, and it is freezing out here. So I'm going to say, I will see you tomorrow for some Damn Dirty Apes podcasting chat. That is where Q and I discuss a few things. In fact, I've sort of given away a couple of things I already want to talk about, but so you may hear some repeat stuff there. But it's also just a fun chance to talk to Lance, who's just got these crazy great stories about his upbringing and his life and his crazy experiences. And it's always enlightening and certainly always amusing. So join me for that. Probably around 2 or 3 tomorrow, something like that, if I get back from my recording. And then I have to go. I've got to go and listen to classical music. I don't like classical music. I like dance music. But yeah, classical music. My sister's partner is a brilliant musician and an absolutely wonderful human being, and he what's it called, conducts an orchestra, this like urban orchestra. And so my mom is going, and she's guilted me into coming with her. So I'm gonna come with her and try to look happy, and then also just try to crack her up during the show, because that's always fun too. You just get if you can get my mom to lose it during a show, I always feel like I've done my job as a son. So I'm going to go, as you say, I'm going to go warm up. You know it's cold now because I've stopped steaming. Oh, God, it really is cold. Okay, so I will say, be safe, be kind, be brilliant. Until we geek again, cheerio and huzzah! See y'all.